Abdul-Rahman Mohammed El-Sayed, the most radical Senate candidate in America.
Pretty dangerous.
El-Sayed pledged support for the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, a designated foreign terrorist group. He wants to hike taxes on Michigan waitresses, delivery drivers, and seniors on Social Security. He joined a sex offender and a murderer to demand the mass release of dangerous prisoners. And when his ally claimed America deserved 9/11,
America deserved 9/11, dude.
El-Sayed refused to disavow it.
I'm not here to disavow people's views.
Abdul El-Sayed, too radical, too dangerous, wrong for Michigan.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the f***ing head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something?
To give you an example, one of the more controversial ones is that Piker has said America deserved 9/11. Are you comfortable with that association?
No, I am not. I think that's a dumb statement. On the other hand, he has a whole lot of followers, and there's a lot of things that he's saying that are making sense to a lot of people. I think, we have to get above cancel culture. When you're doing radio, whatever they do, podcasts 3 hours a day, you say dumb things. I suspect if you go back over your career, there may be one or two things that you said that you may have regretted. But I think what we have got to do is look at the totality of where people are coming from and go forward.
So when someone like James Carville says he doesn't want to be in the same political party as Hassan Piker, which one are you going to take?
Well, that's not much of a choice. If Mr. Carville doesn't want to be in my party, the party that I belong to, that Piker, that El-Sayed belongs to, he can start his own party. But I think we need a big tent, and I think people like Piker should be welcome into that, certainly.
Hold that seat.
So you think he could lose to Mike Rogers?
Oh, 100% that's possible, without a doubt. I mean, the polling seems to indicate that it is a danger.
So how should members of your party, the Democratic Party, come together to defeat the Republican candidate?
Yeah, well, I can't come together with someone if you are willing to embrace people that loves Hamas or that thinks America deserved 9/11. I think that's reasonable, and I think that's the reasonable view. Being able to kind of be like, well, maybe and try to ignore those things. That's not a big tent situation. There are things that are unacceptable to have these views as a Democrat, I think.
If you woke up this morning thinking we're still California because Wayne County still doesn't have their vote count in, you may be right. Our election system here in Michigan is broken. We're going to do a lot of work between now and November to help get that thing at least back in some semblance of order. First of all, think about it. He just came out a few minutes ago and said that he won the race, so he's declaring victory. This is really about the heart and soul of our country. I have never seen someone so radical, so extreme, get nominated by a political party. And the DSA candidates in the state in two different congressional races look like they're pulling it off as well. The Democrat Party is lost to this hardcore socialist attitude. And I fought terrorism my whole life. I was an FBI special agent, U.S. Army officer, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. I find it shocking that I'm going to go up against a guy who believes America deserved 9/11. That's why this race is so important, Lawrence.
Yeah, he was with Hassan Piker, who had that viewpoint. He may have that viewpoint, but he's very slick, and there's a lot of people that find his message inspirational.
This is actually something that we committed to at convention, having our endorsed candidates supporting the program. It's a requirement now. And so that'll be incorporated into our endorsement process.
It sounds so radical, like abolish the Senate, abolish the Supreme Court, like et cetera, but it's not. Like those are the things that need to happen.
So whenever people are like, oh my God, they want to get rid of the president, I was like, well, I don't know what we would call it in the future. We could call it the head honcho of whatever, it's like we might not have a president.
They think they want to use my whole name against me. Mike, listen, man, if you can't say the name, it's Abdurrahman, keep the name out your damn mouth. I'll be happy to give you lessons. You might not hate racist Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you. Muslims definitely hate you.
Sayed wins, I will not vote Democrat. I'll switch over.
Okay, it's good to know. Good to know. Muslims hate you. Definitely hate you, he said. I wanted you to hear that. Muslims definitely hate you. Because over the next couple of months, you're gonna begin seeing this guy, because he has to, as many of the other ones will have to, is start to make a pivot to the we're here for all people. When they can't erase everything on the internet. Now comes the game. Now comes the orchestration, the choreographing of making it look like and gloss it over, paint it with a different brush. But if you haven't noticed, in case you didn't follow up with yesterday and what's been going on the last couple of months, we are most assuredly at war on a number of different fronts. Obviously, we got that thing going on in Iran. We also know we have a civil war of sorts with a number of people in the Republican Party fighting MAGA. And now we've opened up another front, and it's these socialist commies that want to destroy America and are getting elected. Bernie Sanders said something in the pre-opening clip, which is very interesting. He asked Abby Phillip, he said, have you never said anything that you later regret? Which I'm sure if he let her answer, she would have said yes. We all have said things we regret. The problem with that is these people don't regret it. These people mean it. These people mean that we deserved 9/11. These people tell you what they want to do, and they don't regret it. Some of them might lie. The one in Wisconsin, where she said, now, I didn't really mean, yeah, you did. You meant every word of it. Now you have to lie, which we know is okay to meet your ends. And I think today we should be happy about what happened in Michigan. We should understand what we've been presented. Every single one of you watching and everybody who's MAGA should understand, one, you got a fight on your hands, and two, we got a big opportunity. The same way that they want to completely do away with the American government, let's get rid of the Supreme Court, let's get rid of the Senate, let's get rid of the presidency. The same way they want to do that is how we should be thinking about them. I don't want to defeat you, I want to destroy you. And that's a hat that I'm wondering how many people in MAGA are prepared to put on. This is a vanquishing effort. This isn't a win effort anymore. This is to make sure these people are irrelevant and eradicated so that they can't rise their heads up out of the grass never again. They've sat there and they festered and they festered and they festered and they waited who knows how long, decades. These radicals in colleges were able to recruit and shape these young minds exactly how they wanted them. And it worked because nobody paid attention. People dutifully sent their kids to college. They dutifully and obligatorily took out huge student loans that these kids now are never going to pay back. And as soon as the Democrats would ever possibly get back in power, they will never collect from it. It's gone. Right now, they're crying they can't afford anything. Well, maybe you should go back to those colleges that ripped you off, that charged you $40,000, $50,000 a year and told you were going to have the world handed to you. And what they didn't mean was the world of Starbucks. They have no functionality in society, and they blame everybody around them except the person who looks in the mirror. They can't blame them. But now they're following a cult that says they're here for the working people. They're here for peoples of color, which is the biggest lie of all. I don't know. We're going to get into that real quick. But I want to show you in a second why that is such a lie. But first, I want to go to President Trump. President Trump, he posted at 9:28 this morning, Wayne County, Detroit, in Michigan is one of the most corrupt voting areas in the United States, if not the world. It is strictly third world miracles happen in Wayne County, including more votes being cast than there are even voters. Therefore, the communist, who is not liked in Detroit, is potentially in vote counter trouble. The radical left socialist has a real shot, and don't discount all of those fake mail-in ballots that will surprisingly show up at the last moment. Get ready for another rigged election, and in November, we must vote for Mike Rogers and make Michigan too big to rig. God bless America, President Donald J. Trump. You know, I personally feel, and I posted earlier on X, that mail-in ballots will lead to the death of America. The Democrats found their the way that they can actually win without ever winning. They can it's like we're fighting a war without any weapons. They're taking over, and they're using mail-in ballots. I don't think he said it in here, but do you know how many mail-in ballots came in Michigan for this Senate race? Over 1 million mail-in ballots came in. 1 million. Who knows where they came from? Who knows who they filled them out? They don't have any ability. They won't let you look. You can't verify. 1 million ballots came in. Oh, they have their own kind of verification. Oh, they'll tell you, we look at them. Okay, great. But he knows it, you know it, and I know it. This is all bull crap. And it's not in terms of anything against us, because these people manipulate it wherever they want to go. They had to beat the establishment candidate. Do I know it was rigged? No. But I know there's over a million mail-in ballots, which makes me kind of shake my head. Next, President Trump put this up at 10 o'clock. And he wrote, as I say here, great news for the Republican Party. That's what I'm saying. El Sayed, a communist loser who hates Jews and Israel, is the projected winner in his race with the other socialists. As usual, the polls were way off on this one. She was not expected to do nearly as well as she did, and he wasn't expected to do nearly as bad as he did. Now the Democrats' crazy policies will only get worse. You know all the pollsters that are out there? You know the one even I had on the show here today who hates America, obviously now. They had this guy, Syed, winning by 14 points. And he barely escaped by with 1 or 2. So it was a 13% difference in what the pollsters say. But then again, this morning, nobody wants to talk about it. Hey, we missed. Sorry. Oh, that's one hell of a miss. To miss by 12 or 13 points is one hell of a miss. But, let's just move on. No big deal. Let's go ahead and handicap the next race and see how effed up my polling is. Now, I was mentioning to you the whole thing about they're supposedly for the working class and for the poor peoples and the black peoples, the people of color. I want you to see something. I did some research. I heard it. I went to Grok and I said, is this true? And I posed a question to Grok. What were the demographics of the vote for the Senate in the Democrat primary? This is really interesting. Remember, this is the people who say they're for the working class, the poor peoples, and the black peoples. Well, interesting. Okay, so as it gets down here, here's the key demographic and geographic patterns. El Sayed performed strongly with young voters and dominated counties with the highest shares of young adults. Stevens did better, Haley, by narrow margins in older-leaning counties. Pre-election polls consistently showed El Sayed with leads among voters under 45, often 30 to 50-point margins. In some surveys, and closer on Stevens leading results among those 65 plus. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Race and ethnicity. Stevens had a clear edge with black voters. Wait a second. Stevens, the white woman, the Democrat white woman, had a big, clear advantage with black voters. How could that possibly be? How could the white woman, who's a regular Democrat, I guess you could say, have a clear advantage with black people over Syed, whose entire socialist commie campaign was supposed to be about peoples of color? How is that possible? Because it's all crap. Says black population be 25% of the primary elective. It goes down here. It says pre-election poll showed Stevens with a very large lead among black voters, 46 points or larger margins in some surveyed. May end up being closer, but 46 is a big number. So as you just hear that first category of demographics, that this guy did not pull from the color, Spanish, black, whatever. He couldn't pull from the people, the very people they supposedly represent, i.e. the black people, the people of color, saw through your bull crap. So when I said to you earlier, what happened last night is a big opportunity, there's one of your opportunities right there. The black people, people of color, however you want to say it, don't want anything to do with this socialist communist stuff. They didn't come out. That is a huge opportunity for us to turn some of those voters. Let's continue. Education. El Sayed won counties with a highly educated population by 10 points or more in some of the higher education areas. Stephen did better in the less educated counties. Pre-election data showed El Sayed stronger with college-educated voters and Stevens stronger with non-college working-class voters. How can that be? How can a movement that's based on people of color and working class not get the working class and the people of color? Nobody's going to be talking about that. Well, I mean, there might be a few, but that's extremely opportunistic. See the white MAGA candidate, Mike Rogers, and candidates across the country, now you know your opportunity. We need to reach out to people of color and the true working class. They don't want to have anything to do with socialism and communism. I find that amazing. Geography. El Sayed posted strong results in places like Ann Arbor, Michigan. University of Michigan, that's where the college is. Often by large margins, in some reports, held its own or better in many suburbs and more rural areas, enough to overcome Stevens' strengths. Stevens led in Wayne County and performed competitively or better in other metro Detroit suburbs and, once again, working class rural areas. So now you've got the data that comes in. Irrefutable data. They can't even complain about it. Irrefutable data that the socialists and commies, the people of color and true working class people want nothing to do with this crap. So I wake up this morning like, I see the opportunity. It's not even going to be hard. It is defined, which I love when you have a defined target. When you don't have anything abstract, you know for sure they're not reaching the working class people they say they're working for. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't. I woke up this morning and went, wow, that's simply amazing in terms of the failure of the socialists. The other thing is, I don't know where it is right now, but it was about 50-50 in terms of Syed versus Haley Stevens. That means half the Democrats don't want anything to do with socialism and communism. So you got half the electorate on the left side of the aisle that is politically homeless right now. Smell that? That's opportunity. You've got a big chunk of people, half the Democrats, who I don't want anything to do with this, And many of them are black and of people of color and working class. That has all the smell of a wipeout. That has the smell of a landslide. That has the smell of victory being right there. Like I've been saying for weeks, we are on the 1 yard line. We just need to get over the goal line. That's it. That's all we got to do. We got to go about this far. We only need, what, a couple percent of the blacks, a couple percent of the working class come this way. That's all we need. That spells victory. I don't care about the pollsters now. Now you should absolutely know polls are BS. They had Syed winning by 14 points. Didn't come close. Democrats behind the scenes have to be crapping themselves because of the same data I just showed you. There's no way you can look at it and go, man, our guy only won 48, 49% of our own people. We had a home game and only 48% of the people wanted our team to win. That's trouble for them, opportunity for us. We just can't muck this up. What's his name? Frank Luntz had posted something on X, pretty much underscoring what I just said. It's not so much about class as it's about education level. Abdul El Sayed, I'm not going to keep your name out my mouth, even if I butcher it. You can't make me, so stick it, Abdul. Won 58% of the vote in counties where at least 30% of the adults have a college degree. And not the working class. Haley Stevens won 51.4% of the vote in counties where less than 30% of the adults went to college. So everybody's parsing this data today. And you're not going to see many people on the left side of the aisle even talking about this because they know it smells like doom. As soon as people start realizing and focusing on where the opportunity is, you can take these people down. I saw this on MS, whatever it's called nowadays. This is pretty interesting. I can't believe they actually publish this.
I think people who are looking at this, particularly some Democrats who I've talked to, who are hoping that he will moderate some of his positions. I think one of the key ones to point to that he is not going to, you just heard him talking about Israel. And I want to tell you really quickly, as I was getting on the plane this morning, a guy who was a big fan of MS Now said to me, I'm anxious to see who wins. And I said, oh, did you vote? And he said, yes, I voted for Haley Stevens. And I said, oh, why? And he said, well, because of Israel, and I don't like the position that Abdul El-Sayed has on Israel. And in fact, if he wins, I will be voting for Mike Rogers. And you could not get more far apart, right, from two candidates than Mike Rogers and even Haley Stevens. But it's going to be interesting to listen to that because this has been a primary conversation within this campaign. A campaign, though, that they clearly are celebrating. They have won. But let's be clear, while this is a victory for progressives, the much tougher fight is still ahead.
So if MS Now is saying that, the left-leaning crazies of MS Now actually broadcast that. It had to have pained her, or maybe it didn't. Maybe the word has already go out. Maybe the hit has been ordered. Take this guy out. But it's too late now. You don't have anyone to replace him. Well, I don't want to say that because the Democrats seem to be taking people out all over the place and then installing somebody else. Maybe that's what they're going to do here. Because the other thing is, you got to hear this morning. There's so much going on today as we're waiting for President Trump to come out. J.D. Vance did a presser on fraud, which I have for you. Todd Blanche and Kash Patel, they came out with a bunch of stuff about some arrests and indictments. And then at the same time, the Senate was holding hearings on the Muslim Brotherhood. But it was very interesting when they convened the hearing for the Muslim Brotherhood.
On Hidden in Plain Sight, confronting the Muslim Brotherhood network in America. You may notice that there are empty chairs on the Democrat side of the dais. The American people should ask themselves why not a single member of the minority decided that a hearing on terrorism was worth their time. It is an embarrassment and a disservice to the thousands of American victims of the Muslim Brotherhood, including most recently the dozens of Americans who died on October 7th at the hand of Gaza's Muslim Brotherhood branch, Hamas.
Not a single Democrat showed up for a hearing on the Muslim Brotherhood. Not one. Yet they're so quick to support LD Basibi, whatever his name is, and Hassan Piker and all the rest of them, but they don't want to know about anything about the terrorism. Not a single one showed up. Like I said, we're at war. People aren't paying attention. They're pretty much letting you know we're okay with this. This is who we are at this point. We think you deserved 9/11. This is it. It's on. How the hell can sworn senators elected in America decide it's not worth their time to talk to anybody about the Muslim Brotherhood? My gosh, where are we? Where are we? And then he goes on further here to actually talk about Mr. Syed.
Now let's look at the Muslim Brotherhood network today and its influence in the United States today. In fact, just yesterday, Abdul El Sayed, the son-in-law of a leading member of several Brotherhood groups, won Michigan's Democrat primary for U.S. Senate. Perfect timing for this hearing. Probably explains why no Democrats are here and none intend to attend. Because their campaign is now openly embracing terrorist organizations waging war on America.
That should freak you out. It should absolutely not make you fear, but freak you out and motivate you. Understand where we are right now as a country. Not a lot of people knew that he was actually his family is in the Muslim Brotherhood. Somehow that didn't come up in the whole campaign. Haley Stevens, I guess she didn't want to go after him. Mike Rogers, he's going to go after him. Mike Rogers and everybody on the right better let everybody know what this is all about. You better let the blacks know. You better let the Hispanics know. You better let the working class know. At this point, blast the airwaves and let people know the enemy is here. It's not on some foreign shore. It's here. It's winning elections. It's being propped up by the Democrat Party, who has now declared that they are your enemy. I don't want to break bread with them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to reach across the aisle. It's over. I'm done with them. If you care to want to save America, at this point, we're going to have to shake hands with James Carville. Carville's like, I'm done. Did you ever think you'd be in a position where, yeah, I think I have to shake hands with James Carville? Even Bernie said, screw him. I'm like, whoa, seriously, Bernie? Scott Pressler came out today and said he would help reelect John Fetterman if he would just push the Save America Act. Now we're having to find allies in very strange places, because there's a whole swath of people who are so-called Democrats who are just homeless right now. They are politically homeless, waiting for us to reach out and say, I know you're a Democrat, but are you a libtard? Are you a commie? Are you socialist? No. Well, then we can have some common ground after we get rid of these people. The old adage fits. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And now I think it's incumbent upon all of us to begin looking at those enemies of the enemy at this point. That friend, that coworker, who didn't want to talk to you because you're MAGA, you can now go to him and say, You with us or you with them? It's very simple. I don't want to argue with you. I just want to know, are you with what's going on in your party? You want to be with these people that want to destroy America? Let me know. We can continue not talking to each other, or we can talk about how we're going to take these people out. We'll figure out our differences after. But in order for us to save America, we have to eradicate the snakes. We got to get rid of them. And it's going to get dirty, and it's going to require effort. It's going to require tears. It's going to require the whole thing, blood, sweat, and tears. So I just want to know, are you ready? Just wondering. Because if you're not, step aside, back off. Because right now, these people are ready. The Piker comes out and says, you should be killing this person. And are you kidding me? That didn't destroy his candidacy yesterday? I don't want to really, talk about somebody else's words. Really? Hope you're ready. Hope you are ready, because that's where we are right now. All right, so President Trump is due up any second now. He's going to be talking live in Las Vegas. He's going to be advocating for the no tax on tips, and talking about the economy. And then I've got a whole bunch of stuff to show you after he's done. I mean, just so much content. So hang out. As soon as he comes up, we'll go ahead and switch right to him. Got a good looking crowd there, so it should be pretty interesting him talking today, especially after everything that happened in California, where some guy tried to hang out in the bushes, hopefully to take a shot at him. Crazy, absolutely crazy at this point. Let's check in with SV, see if he's got anything. What up?
Hey, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Great. Happy hump day.
I don't even know what day is anymore. The day's all just running together. I can feel things starting to pick up. When I saw the schedule today, and I'm like, wait a second, JD Vance, yeah, Todd, Cash, RFK Jr., the whole, all the good men were out there today. I'm like, okay, it's time. Somebody flipped the switch. It's absolutely time. I'm like, all right.
I always have a couple for you, but some, he's going to cut in. So just cut me off whenever you need be. 3 of them are concerning, the primary, Democratic primary yesterday. And then there's one on fraud you may be covering later. Pick one that you want. I gave you 4 of them.
Yeah, since we just talked about this idiot, what do you got here?
Okay, which cut is that? That's
Abdul Sayed. If you don't say his name right, keep his name out your mouth.
I know. Yeah. Well, what a tough guy, huh? Yeah, deport his ass. So it's official. Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed, his campaign ally Hassan Piker, is now calling Democrat voters Islamophobic pieces of crap if they refuse to back him in the primary. Amazing strategy, Democrats. Everyone saying Abdul has work to do mending bridges. You are all unbelievable Islamophobic pieces of crap. You call the dude a terrorist for months, a sexist bad candidate. All Dems who voted against El Sayed should stay at home or protest vote for Mike Rogers. I mean, yeah, it's making it easy. It's definitely. I mean, you just posted the MS Now clip.
Yeah.
I had that queued up. I mean, yeah, they're going to make it easier for us to get him in office, unless they cheat, a million more mail-in votes. But I can't see anybody with a functional frontal lobe that's going to want to vote for this. This is nuts.
It's funny. Well, not funny, kind of sad, is if you know what this guy, the stuff he has spewed out of his mouth, and you're just going to put your arm around him and say, that's my concierge here. You were tying your future to this guy, and you don't care. I mean, it would be very simple to disavow. Listen, I don't believe the stuff he believes, but it's too late now. You've already put that noose around your neck.
Yeah.
And this guy is basically saying all the things that he just can't come out and say, but he's kind of winking along with it. My gosh.
Yeah.
So every Democrat, wait, let me just read that again. He's saying every Democrat who doesn't vote for or doesn't support Abdul Sayed is an Islamophobic piece of crap. That's what he's saying? So in addition to everything else, You already know you lost the black vote. You know you lost people of color. You know you lost the working class. And now the rest who were just maybe on the fence, you just decided to insult all of them. That's
Beautiful strategy, huh? That's smart.
Let's see how it works out for you. Oh my
Yeah, let's see.
gosh.
And these polls, man. I mean, got 14 points up. I read a lot of Mark's stuff just because you don't have to. I don't know if you follow him, but he's trying to justify his job now. It almost seems like, he needs those clicks and money to keep coming in. Sorry, buddy, but you're full of crap.
They never say. I haven't seen one pollster ever, even the lady in Iowa when President Trump was running, who was down by, so he's going to lose by 13. They never come out the next day and go, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was completely wrong, because otherwise people would know they've been wrong. People won't remember that, hey, listen, he's going to win this by a whole bunch. It's not going to be, and now you would think they would have realized it, and they've already pivoted to saying that he's going to beat Mike Rogers by 6 or 7 points.
Well, it's like being a weather forecaster. You could be wrong most of the time, and you go, oh, it is what it is.
Batting a stockbroker.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Speaking of which, stocks were up again today.
Yeah, they were. All right, good.
Another record. Okay. All right. So Clandestine, he remarks that earlier. He said something remarkable is happening. Openly, communist Democrats are winning primaries all over the place. Communism is not some fringe subsection of the left. Communism is taking over. Why is this important? Because this will drive more centrist and sane people away from the Democratic Party. It also opens up the door for Trump and the U.S. military to do what is necessary and remove this illegitimate party that is controlled by foreign adversaries waging war on the United States from within. The Dems going openly communist will be their downfall. They were always this way. Now the mask is off, and it has become obvious to anyone that communism has reached the U.S. under the guise of progress and leftism. This is an important step for public perception. The public must understand that the DNC has been compromised to justify what we have to do to them later. Yeah, I mean, look at Chuck Schumer. I mean, you got a big tent. Yeah, right.
that big tent that he's not allowed in. You're Jewish.
Yeah.
You are a Jew. As far as they consider you should be dead. They don't. Man, this Stockholm syndrome that these people have is absolutely insane. They don't want to be your friend. I mean, I guess you convert. Maybe he's going to convert. I don't know. It's crazy. But
what about all the LGBTQI? I mean, that's another thing that they'll be throwing them off the rooftops. I mean, do they not understand that?
Well, it's the funniest thing. Well, no, there's a whole bunch of things funny. One of the funny things is I see all these people, these young kids, these college educated, I guess we should put those two words together in a sentence, but these college educated kids who are complaining that things are too expensive and they can't buy a house and they can't do this and can't do the other thing. So you're telling me you have a desire to buy a house and buy a car, which is contrary to how you're voting. If you're supporting a socialist and a commie, you're never going to have that, morons. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They don't want you to have private property. They don't want you to have the nice car. So why would you? It's the same thing with the LGBTQ. Why are you supporting something that will never further where you want to be? And I don't know, that's got to be the biggest hypnosis I've ever seen, that you've convinced people that you're for them when not only are they not for you, they want to eliminate you.
Do you think it has anything to do with the TDS? Because, how do you pronounce his name? Shri Tanalar, that he didn't, he lost
that guy,
his re-election.
the Indian guy, yeah.
Yeah, his whole thing was like impeaching Trump.
Right.
He never had anything that wanted to fix or help people. So, I think that some of these people they've gobbled up all the dribble from CNN, MSN Now, etc., and they're so diluted. They're tunnel vision. That's all they see is TDS, right? And hearing the word "free" every once in a while from the socialists and communists, free. Okay, I can go with that. So that together.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with liberal media. because we all know it's been published how much money certain people make over there. And they understand if you start pushing these socialists and commies, they're not going to want you to make that kind of money. When they say nobody should make this kind of money, nobody should make 10% on their investment, they're talking about you too. So it's good. I mean, I wonder if that MS Now clip is the beginning of the turn away from the socialists and communists. I don't know, but I would almost feel like they have to. And then when Abby Phillip was questioning Bernie Sanders, you could almost feel there's some trepidation in the media right now. They don't know what to do. There's no way they can support these people. Nobody will watch their networks. They'll turn off.
Yeah,
advertisers won't.
Yeah, the Operation Mockingbird doesn't have an answer right now. I'm sure they're going to come up with some crazy crap, but you're right. I think you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're stuck. Yeah. You're absolutely stuck. All right, so let me get a read in before he comes on.
All right.
And then
see you soon, Barry. Thank you.
We'll be right back to you. Thank you very much for all this. I mean, we're talking crazy town stuff here. More so than I've seen in quite some time, but it's absolutely nuts. Hey, let me tell you about one of our sponsors here. Has been here for quite some time. That's Lear Capital. If you find it really hard to understand all the technical information regarding the economy and the markets, it's not your fault. More than likely, no one ever took the time to educate you on the difference between a bond, a stock option, a commodity. That's a whole other thing nobody ever talks about is commodities. Did you know you can actually trade orange juice? You can trade wheat. There's all kinds of things that you can trade on, but you don't have, even besides gold and silver, but you don't have the education in order to do that. So you just end up being a spectator instead of a participant. But now you don't have to feel like that, at least with gold and silver. My friends at Lear will help you learn about gold and silver at your pace before you jump in. They are making it really easy for you to make an educated and informed decision about gold and silver. Now, all you have to do is text the code, and I'm going to put that code up right now. All you have to do is text the code 43343. Text the code Barry to 43343. From there, you'll put immediately into a call queue. One of the sales reps will reach out to you directly. You'll also receive a text, and with that text, it'll be a message that has a link to a landing page where you can sign up for a free investor kit guide, sort of like the AI revolution. Once they fill out the form, the investor kit will be emailed right directly to you immediately. So now learning, which is probably more valuable than anything about gold and silver, at least, is extremely convenient and easy. Just text the code Barry to 43343. Again, text the code Barry to 43343. President Trump last night, just to let you guys know while we're waiting, he has not come up yet, did an interview on Fox late at night, like an 11 o'clock show with Trey, what's the heck's his name? Trey Lawrence? Yeah, I believe that's his name. So let's take a look at that. And as soon as he comes out, if he comes out while this is playing, we'll bounce over here. And then if when it's done, we'll come back to the interview.
Sir, thank you for doing this for us. We very much appreciate this. One of the big stories of the day, we'll talk about the markets. The markets were way up today, but one of the big stories, of course, is the primaries in Michigan, specifically, where it looks like Abdul El-Sayed is going to win, has a very good chance to win that Senate race, at least his primary race. What do you think about the traction these candidates who are backed by the DSA and members of the DSA are getting?
Well, I think it's crazy because they're going to ruin our country. They want to, I don't know if they want to. I think either they're very naive or they actually want to ruin the country.
Thank you very much, Trace Gallagher. I was thinking Trace Lawrence. Trace Gallagher, thank you very much.
No matter where you look, go back 1,000 years with different names. Anybody doing what they're doing and what they're espousing, everything turns out to ashes and junk and filth. You know, one thing I said the other day for the first time ever, never thought of it, but you go to these cities that are taken over by the socialists and the communists, they're always filthy dirty. They're disgusting. They're always dirty. And, you know, I'm a clean person, and people I know are clean. They like to, and you are. I know you very well. You're very clean. But aside from crime, aside from all of the other problems, no jobs, no anything, no money, they're always filthy, disgusting, dirty. And that's what you'll get. You know, I won Michigan. I did great in Michigan. And We should win. We have a man, Mike Rogers is going to be fantastic. Now, I'm not a big believer in polls, but I believe in him somewhat. And based on the polls, he'll do much better against Abdul than he's going to do against the Congresswoman.
Do you think, sir, that the Republican Party is hitting home the facts that these people literally want to open up the prisons? They want to privatize. They literally want to get rid of private insurance. They want Medicare for all, which means private insurance for none. Are they hammering that home so people get an idea of how radical these agendas are?
Well, outside of you and people that happen to be in Fox and a few others, they don't talk about it. Really, they don't. You turn on NBC fake news or ABC, which is the worst of all, or CBS or CNN, any of them, they don't talk about that. They talk about as positive as you can talk, which isn't easy to do, but they don't talk about the consequences, because it's all about the consequences. Right. And a guy like this is just look at his views, and then they change the views for the election. Now they're actually having to go a little bit right, which is very hard for them to do. But it's a very sad thing when you look at it. And as far as the Republicans, look, the Republicans talk about it. It's not put on, but they've got to get tougher. They've got to talk, and they've got to talk about how well we're doing. I watched Laura before, and she was saying this is the most incredible. She's giving the numbers, the financial numbers of the trade numbers that just came out today. Our trade deficit is way down. There's never been anything. It's never gone down in history like it has during this a little bit more than a year. Think of that. And she was going over just point after point. I'm saying, how many people report this? People don't know. Then they saw in the economy, Trump is at 42%. I shouldn't be at 40. We have the greatest economy maybe in the history of the world for any country. We have $19.2 trillion being invested in the United States.
There was a threat. There was a man who was arrested, seemed to be heavily armed near the property here on Sunday. It's an ongoing concern, sir. Talk about that for briefly if we can.
Well, the only thing I get a little solace from is they say only consequential presidents. And I am definitely consequential. I mean, if you look at the economy, if you look at what's happening, Iran, as an example, will never have a nuclear weapon. They already can't, but it's going to be formal. The Strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the Strait's going to be open. And we were going to a tremendous attack, the biggest since World War II. And they called me and said, very politely, please, can we talk? Can we talk? They didn't want. And I said, yes, we can talk. Let's get it done. Finally, let's get it done. This should have been done by other presidents for 50 years. You keep hearing 47, but that's been for 3 years now. It's been over 50 years. Other presidents or other countries should have been able to do this. And I did something that I had to do, because if they had a nuclear weapon, this whole world would be a different place.
If they back out again, are they done?
Well, if they back out again, they're going to get hit really hard. They know that. They understand that. I have no choice. They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. It's not like, gee, let's, think about something else. No, it should have been done by many presidents over many years, and it wasn't. And I'm doing it. Obama was taken to the cleaners. He thought he could bribe his way out. He gave them billions, tens of billions of dollars, so stupidly. $1.7 billion in cash, green cash, on a Boeing 757, an airplane loaded up with cash. They probably looked at it. They said, you got to be kidding. No, you can't bribe your way out. All you can do is fight your way out. And if they didn't, they wouldn't be talking if we weren't doing what we're doing. We hit them very, very hard, but the hard hit is yet to come, and hopefully we won't have to use it. I hope we won't have to. We're having very good discussions. They don't like to admit that, but it's a little bit disconcerting. You tell people like you, we're having wonderful discussions, and then some guy will come out of Iran and say, we have not met, we have not, it's just such a lie. All day long, you understand, it's just incredible. We didn't talk, they'll say, we didn't talk about nuclear. Well, what do we talk about? We're sitting there twiddling our thumbs, right? So, but it doesn't matter, that's talk. The only thing that matters is action, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. If they don't make a deal, it's going to be too bad.
Touched on Iran. It's got to feel like Groundhog Day to you. So, I mean, they're in. They want a deal. The deal's off. I mean, at what point do you say enough? And there's no coming back for Iran.
Well, I have plenty of time. People talk about the midterms. For the midterms, they want to see winning. In Venezuela, people were so opposed to what I did in Venezuela. It lasted one day, and now they look, we're making hundreds of billions of dollars, and so are they. They're getting, Venezuela's like a different place, but we're taking out hundreds of billions of dollars. They're taking out hundreds of billions of dollars. It's a different place. It's actually become, I mean, they had the tragedy the other day with the problem, as you know, but that was a terrible problem. The earthquake, I guess you'd call it, it was a bad one. But outside of that, I mean, they have a country that is a very happy country again, but we paid for the cost of that war many, many times over. Where have you heard that? But everybody was against it. And then when I won, they all think it was great. But nobody talks about it anymore, so I have to talk about it. Nobody talks about the fact that we have the safest border in history. And I probably got elected partially, at least in big part, because of the fact that the border was so bad. 25 million people. You know, people say 14, it's only 19, or it's only 22, it's 25 million people. It's probably more than that. They came pouring into our, totally unchecked and unvetted, pouring into our country. And many of these people are not the people you want in our country. We have drug lords, we have people from many people, millions of people from prisons. 11,000, you've heard me say it, 888 murderers, most of whom, or many of whom, committed more than one murder. We're getting them all out. We've got so many of them out. We're doing such a good job. But with the hardest thing we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. But the worst thing we inherited was the fact that Biden allowed 25 million people, they would not have qualified, many of them, most of them, but many of them, to come into the country. And we're getting them out.
Why is it, do you think, that nobody is talking about the fentanyl deaths? The fentanyl deaths have come way down since the border has closed. It should be one of those prime topics because we have saved tens of thousands of lives in the short period. You look at the numbers from just a couple of years ago, they have come down dramatically. It doesn't seem to be a topic.
68%. I'll tell you what, by sea, by ocean, 97.2%. 97%. Now, you've seen the pictures of the boats, and it's all horrible. But when you think that each time you knock out a boat, you're saving 10,000 people, more than that, probably. They say 25,000. You know, they're carrying massive amounts of fentanyl. And that's an occupation that's very hard to fill right now. Nobody does it. Nobody would have done what I did. But we are down over 97% in drugs coming in by sea. And now we've started a very heavy push for drugs coming in by land, which is actually comes through Mexico, which is actually much easier. The land is the sea is the hardest, but we have a solution to that. Basically they can't do it anymore. They don't get away with it. We know every boat that's coming in. We know who it is and what's on that boat, and it's largely fentanyl and other really bad drugs. So we're down 97%, but we're down the numbers on fentanyl. If you would have said that you were going to do that, nobody would believe it. They say it's just a politician talking. Much higher than anybody ever thought was even possible. People thought if we could get it down 2 or 3%, it would be good. We got it down 67, 68%. Nobody's seen, and that's why your fentanyl numbers look so good.
Markets were way up today. You had oil coming down to $75 a barrel. It was in the high 60s before the war started. Yet gas is still 30% higher than it was. $6.27 here in California I paid yesterday.
This is a little different thing because they charge taxes on gas every time it goes down. They take taxes. I mean, they've done a terrible job in California, but I think we're going to have it coming down. The oil companies have to start going. You know, they're making too much money, and they've got to start lowering it. But we're going to be down into the 3s and maybe the 2s pretty soon per gallon. We'll see what happens with the war. We have a very good day today. You know, they don't like to say that. The Iranians, they always like to say, we didn't discuss that. We didn't. People have found out that's not true. They had an all-day negotiation today, and it looks like things are very good. And if that happens where the Strait is opened up, they'll never have a nuclear weapon. But if the Strait opens up, and it's partially opened anyway, and as you know, we control the Strait totally through the blockade. But if we have no friction, then oil will go down to, I think it'll go down to $2.50 a gallon, $2.50. You know, it was down to 185 before I had to make this little journey to the Islamic Republic of Iran. I had to make it. We had the best numbers that anybody's ever seen. But now you take a look with that going on. You just hit to get today. I think it's number 79 days. We hit an all-time stock market high. 401ks are the highest they've ever been by double and triple. And then I read where we're doing badly on the economy. By the way, job numbers. We have more people working in the United States today than ever in history. We're doing an unbelievable job. Costs are coming way down. I inherited, they talk about costs. I inherited very, very high costs, and they're all coming down now. The food, the groceries, it's all coming down. We've done a great job. I think we should be given an A+ on the economy, but I think that's coming. People are starting to talk about it.
I'm wondering, sir, I wanted to ask you about AI. As the president, everybody wants AI, but everybody's scared of it, right? Nobody wants the AI data centers in their backyard, but nobody wants China to have them either. How do you navigate that as the president of the United States?
Well, a big part of it is China. Look, whoever wins the AI race is going to win AI. It's bigger than the internet. It's bigger than maybe anything that has happened for many, for literally hundreds of years. It is the biggest thing. And it's mostly good. And the communities that are giving a hard time, now a lot of people think that's China-oriented, that China doesn't want, they're spending a lot of money on promoting, don't, build, because we're beating China in AI. We're really doing a great job. I approved, it was my idea actually, for every plant that's built, they build their own electricity. So this way, and they're building unbelievably modernized, much better than anything we ever had in the country. These are super geniuses. They know about building plants, and they're building their own power. We need tremendous power for that. China's building massive amounts of power. We are too. We're building more than China because every one of those buildings that you see going up is building their own. So they're not taking to the community, and the excess power that they have, which is substantial, they're selling them that back at a very low cost to the grid. So we're getting more and more electric, costs us nothing. I think any community that turns down AI is making a big mistake because your taxes are going to go way down. If you own a house, it's going to be more valuable. It's a tremendous thing. And I see it, it's almost like there's a campaign against, data centers. But data centers, if you look at the stats, everything's good around them. Now, the thing they should look at is blue states and blue cities. Cities run by Democrats, because that's really the threat to the country, because they're a disaster. But when you turn down data centers, and within this country, when they get turned down, there's other communities that want them desperately.
Two quick questions, sir. One, you're here to talk about the economy.
Right.
What's your big message? You want to leave one takeaway with this crowd. What is it?
So tariffs have been incredible. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Supreme Court gave us a little shot, but we're allowed to do it in a different manner. They said that. But we are anyway. I mean, regardless, we have the law. I was doing it great. It was a very close decision. But we've done it a different way, and it's just, frankly, it's just as good. A little more complex, but just as good. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. And what it's done is it's brought all these companies that didn't want to pay. Because if you build here, if you make your car here, like Toyota just announced they're building one of the largest car plants in the world. They're coming out of Mexico. Others are coming here. It numbers drug companies. AI, yes, but not even talking about AI. We're building more automobile manufacturing plants than at any time in the history of our country. For 40 years, we didn't build one, not one. Now we're building many, and the biggest in the world. We're building them the biggest in the world. So I think if there's anything, I'd say our country is rocking and rolling. We've never been this successful. They don't want to talk about it, but they're having no choice. And again, whether it's Laura or Sean or Jesse or you have such a good show. I watch you all the time.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes they tape it and watch it. It's okay. It's I don't know what they call it today. They used to call it TiVo. Maybe they still do.
Yeah.
But I love TiVo or its equivalent.
DVR.
But you do a great job.
Thank you,
really
sir.
Good.
A couple of things that President Trump said there. I didn't know this. Highest employment ever in America. Everybody's working. Maybe people aren't working at jobs they want to, but everybody's working. The other thing, he keeps hitting on it. Too many people are freaking out about it, is the AI. And they don't realize that there is a massive, well-funded, extremely well-funded campaign to drive propaganda about AI. I'm not going to get into that because at any second he could walk out. So I'm not going to go too far in that, but don't believe the BS. I had a long conversation with a lady here in chat one day who was saying how the property values were going down and this and that and everything. And she doesn't realize, especially me in real estate, we can verify all that information. And by the time she got off her chat. I had been going backdoor with SV. He looked it all up, sent me the links, and the property values where that data center was going up. Not only did it not go down, it was up by 300%. It was completely the opposite. So she didn't even take the time to research her own area. Imagine that. Imagine being so gaslit that you just go into a complete rage and say that everything sucks and they're going to make our property values go down, and you don't even take a moment to go on Zillow. You don't take a moment to call a local realtor. By the way, just to let you guys know, if you have a question about a data center and you think it's going to impact your values, you can call a realtor and ask them for what's called a comparable market analysis, a CMA. Hey, could you run a CMA on my house? Now, they're going to keep calling you every day afterwards because they think you're going to want to sell it, but you can get a comparative market analysis basically from any realtor. And if you know how to use Zillow and Redfin and a couple other tools, you can get a pretty good ballpark, not only on your house, but your neighbor's house, the guy down the road, and you can see in proximity to any of these data centers what's actually happening. Here's a hint. Most of the data centers are using the Walt Disney property acquisition strategy. They are going in and they're offering people money just so they can have the land to build this data center. So what happens with that? People are like, no, I'm not going to sell. Okay, would you take this? Nope, not going to take it. Would you take this? Nope. Would you take, ooh, that check looks good. And I swear, and SV can tell you in the chat, we looked it up in that area of where that data center was in her area, it was up 300%. And President Trump just told you, he said it, you're making a lot of money. Now, of course, it's your homestead. You may say, this is where I want to stay. I don't want to. It's not about the money. That's fine too. But you can't say the property values are going down. That's a completely different argument. This is where I want to stay. This is where I raise my kids. This is what I want to leave as my legacy to my grandkids. That's completely fine, and everybody would support you. But you can't say, oh, it's horrible. It's the worst thing ever. Nobody, can you believe what's happening in my neighborhood? Not true. And then, and the other side is how much propaganda is being pushed. Crazy. Real quick before he comes out, this is a paid advertisement from Rumble Wallet. Quick question. How much control do you have over your money right now? Technology has changed everything, and now it's changing how money works. Crypto started as a niche, but now it's gone mainstream. Faster payments, more control, fewer middlemen. This isn't hype, it's just where things are going. And getting started today is easier than you think. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, hold dollar-backed stable coins all in one place. It's a non-custodial crypto wallet, which means you and not a bank or a platform control access to your funds. Setup is very simple. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in literally minutes. And for a limited time, you can start your wallet with $10 in US stable coin for free by downloading the Rumble Wallet and entering my exclusive promo code Barry10. When you sign up right now, just enter Barry10. You can even use your Rumble Wallet to support your favorite Rumble creators, me or anybody else. So do this now, scan the QR code on your screen or look at the link in the description or go to wallet.rumble.com/Barry and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, enter promo code Barry10, get your $10 in free stablecoin, and you'll be off and running. This is a limited time offer, so act now. Take control of your money. Get started with Rumble Wallet today. Terms and conditions, however, will apply. See the description below or visit rumble.com/promo official rules for details. Be back in 90 seconds and hopefully he'll be up.
to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so let me see if that's him walking out. Nope, not him yet. I see what something's going on. Oh, maybe he is walking out. Let's see. Yeah, looks like Secret Service. And here, let you guys see what I'm seeing, so you can see what's going on. There was a bunch of people standing up and cheering. So I think I don't know who this is. Let's cut to it. That doesn't look like him at all. So anyway, people are gathering in the corner back there, so he might be getting ready to come out at any minute. As soon as he does, obviously, we will cut right over to him. Any event, he did post something about half an hour ago, either backstage or on the plane. He posted this. He says, I was 28-1 last night on endorsements, and numerous of them were outliers. But if you studied the fake news, you would think it was just the opposite, 1 in 28. All they talked about was the one, and that's why they call it the fake news. Yeah, it's just constantly fake news, constant. It doesn't ever end. So many people are falling victim to it too as well. And let me see if he's coming out. No, not yet. Oh, this is Dana White. Let's go ahead and take this. Dana White looks like he's going to be introducing the president.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out today.
Oh, that sounds like crap, Dana.
I am Dana White. I grew up in this town. And after I graduated high school, I worked at the Golden Nugget. I was a valet. I was a bellman. And, I lived on tips. I know what it's like when every dollar matters. And I know what it feels like when you work hard all day and you're hoping those tips were good, because that's what pays the bills. And that's why this issue was very personal for me. No Tax on Tips program is about letting hardworking Americans keep more of that money that they've earned. Whether you're a server, a bartender, a valet, or one of the thousands of incredible casino employees who keep this city running, you've earned that money. I've spent my whole life around hardworking people. When I leave someone a tip, I want that money going to them, not the government. That's exactly what No Tax on Tips is all about. The second initiative is Trump accounts. For the first time, every newborn American child will have the opportunity to begin building wealth from day one. These accounts aren't just about investing money. They're about investing in our kids. They give families a head start, teach children about saving, investing, and building wealth, and help people prepare the next generation to succeed by putting money back into your pockets. Strengthen our economy and create more opportunity for American families. The president promised to make it a priority to do what's best for you, your family, and our country. And both of these much-needed programs accomplish that, and that's why I am so proud to be here today. Las Vegas, it is my honor to introduce the president. And that's why this issue was very personal. Trump.
All right, so I've changed and listened to two separate feeds, and both feeds the sound absolutely sucks. I've gone to my direct feed, and as you just heard, that was the second feed I tried, and they all seem to suck. Hopefully they'll modulate it and get it working, but dang, that's nothing on my end. My sound is, I'm hearing the same thing you're hearing. It's coming through like really crappy. So hopefully they get it fixed before he steps up there.
White House feed is good, Barry.
Yeah, but I don't have the White House feed, so I'm gonna have to. I'll get the White House feed while we're waiting for him to sing. Hold on. Let's just do this.
investing in our kids. They give families a head start, teach children about saving, investing, and building wealth, and help people prepare the next generation to succeed by putting money back into your pockets. Strengthen our economy and create more opportunity for American families. The president promised to make it a priority to do what's best for you, your family, and our country. And both of these much-needed programs accomplish that, and that's why I am so proud to be here today. Las Vegas, it is my honor to introduce the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Hold on, try to get this stuff working right here.
Would anybody like to give up their location to somebody outside? No? Okay, I figured. I wouldn't do it either. But I want to thank the great, he really is one and only Dana White, and I want to say a big hello to Las Vegas. You know, Dana had the most successful fight in history the other night at the White House. We had the White House as a little backdrop, and there were some of the greatest fights anyone's ever seen. You saw Justin Gaethje. You saw some of those fights. Every one of them was incredible. But it was the thrill of the White House. It was the whole thing. It was just, I don't think it will ever be duplicated again. It was the most successful fight, they say, ever. Although I think Mike Tyson, he's here someplace, he had some pretty damn good ones. So I better be careful. He might have topped us once or twice, Iron Mike. But I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Nevada, where thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots are just doing their thing. But before we begin, I want to send our love and heartfelt prayers to the family and loved ones of the brave, I hear he was an incredible young man, Las Vegas police officer, Austin, Abdel Nabi, a lot of you knew him, who was shot and killed in the line of duty yesterday afternoon. It was a big deal, a big story, and it should be a big story. And gunned down by a savage criminal at just 30 years old. And Austin died a hero, and he will never be forgotten, never going to be forgotten. So, to every law enforcement officer here today, we thank you for your service, and we say God bless the men and women of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and, frankly, all of law enforcement. With the help of so many Nevada patriots here today, we have a lot of them. In 2024, we won the state in a landslide. It was a big, beautiful, well, no tax on tips didn't hurt, did it? Remember I said it, and by the way, I said it and I got it done. You know, a lot of people say it, they don't get it done. But I remember I said it, then about a month and a half, 2 months later, she came out and she said, that's Kamala, because by this time Biden was gone. He went bye-bye. And Kamala came out. She said, no tax on tips. What does that mean? She didn't know what it meant. And people cast her aside. They didn't believe it. She was a little late. She was a little bit late. But right now, it's one of the best things. I mean, it's one of the greatest things. People are making a lot of money. No tax on tips, and it's great. And the best thing, and the thing I'm most proud of, because a lot of people would say it's a little bit, tends to be a Democrat state, but not when I'm running, because we had more votes than any candidate in the history of Nevada. Actually, by far. By far. So every day since, I've been fighting for the people of Nevada like no president has ever fought before, and the people of our country. When we took office, we inherited a total catastrophe. Biden and the radical left, Democrats, I call them Democrats because their policies are so dumb. You exchange the E with a U, and nobody knows that dumb doesn't have a B. Democrats. I can't imagine I didn't think about that 10 years ago when I started this whole situation. But the Democrats created the worst inflation in 48 years. They had the worst inflation I inherited those high prices, just so you understand. I inherited them. Wide open borders with millions of people pouring in from all over the globe, from drug dealers and people in prison. They opened up their prisons from all over the world, including from the world's worst prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums. We had transgender for everybody. We had men playing in women's sports. How's that one? We had a big win on that, as you know, in the Supreme Court. Crime was ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us. But they're not laughing anymore. They're not laughing anymore. They don't laugh. They don't laugh anymore. We had a president that nobody respected. Nobody thought anything about him. Everybody took advantage of him. Everybody took advantage of him. It was sad, actually, including his own family took advantage of him. But America's respected again like we have never been respected before. We've never been respected at this level before. And less than 2 years ago, and you've heard this said, this was said by the king of Saudi Arabia, he told me, a year ago. That time the dates were a little different, but the statement was the same. He said, President, a year ago, your country was dead. It was a dead country. We never thought it was coming back. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's true. You have the hottest country. And I'm not getting credit from the fake news for what I've done. I never have gotten credit. I don't get credit. Dana, I don't get any credit for anything. Everything I do, even prescription drug prices, where they're down 4, 5, 600, think of it, 600%. Favored nations. We had the highest prices in the world, and now we have the lowest prices. The press won't write about it. They don't give me any credit. But look at the bright side. I'm president, so you gave me credit. Right? You get it. Like, you know, you had a big election last night, and a lot of people running, and I endorsed a lot of candidates. And the end result, I was 28 wins and 1 loss. It was a little bit of a person that I thought was a good person. Didn't have much of a chance, but I said, I don't care. I'm doing it anyway. Good person. Very good. Very respected, but nobody knew who the person was. But it was 28-1 last night on endorsements, and numerous of them were outliers. You know, an outlier is a person that doesn't have a chance. But if you studied the fake news today, you'd think that it was just the opposite. It was like 1 in 28. No, it was 28-1 last night. And I have to be truthful, because if I'm not truthful, look at all the press. They have a lot of press here. Well, this is all on live television. Every word, if you make one little mistake, one little exaggeration, they go after you with... Now, when Biden made mistakes, that's all he did is make mistakes. Nobody ever went after him. But all they talked about was the one, and that's why they call them the fake news. You know, it's just pretty bad. But they really do want to, you take a look at the facts. They don't want to have you see the facts, because what we've done is really amazing. We will really put it all together like you've never seen, and that's what we've been doing. We put it together at levels that have never been seen in this country before. Just yesterday it was announced that American exports are totally on fire in a positive way. This is a positive fire, not a negative. Sometimes you say, oh, that's too bad, you know. They'll say, that's too bad, it's on fire. It's on fire in a very positive way, and they've skyrocketed exports to the highest level in American history. Think of that, exports. Think of that. Think of what that means. Exports have gone to the highest level in history. That means somebody's doing a good job, because we didn't have good exports. 2 years ago, we didn't have anything like that. We were dead. The United States is on track to export unprecedented $2.5 trillion in goods this year alone, something everyone thought was impossible. Just a number like that
was not even thinkable. If I ever said it, I wouldn't have even said it, because even I didn't think we could do that well, but we did. And I want to thank all of the policies and all of the things we put it together between the tariffs that have been the tariffs have made us rich. Remember, I used to say that tariffs are my favorite word. I love tariffs. They're my favorite word in the dictionary. Tariff. I love tariffs, right? Because we've been screwed by tariffs used against us for years by China, by Japan, by South Korea, by Germany, by everybody, by Canada. Canada's nasty. They are. They're nasty. People think Canada, they're nasty. People, I love the people, but they're nasty. Nasty leadership. And Mexico, they all did it to us. But now that doesn't work anymore, because we turned the table on everybody, and that's why you're seeing numbers like you've never seen before. This week, as an example, it was announced that manufacturing is exploding at the fastest pace in many years. Nobody thought this would ever happen again. Do you remember, did you ever hear of a man named Barack Hussein Obama? He said, we will never be a manufacturing country again. And he meant it. He meant it. It was pathetic what had happened. Our businesses were stolen by foreign countries. They're all coming back. They're coming roaring back. More automobile factories are being built in the United States right now than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. We didn't have a plant built for years, and now we have more plants. They're all coming back from Germany, from South Korea, from Japan, from Canada, and from Mexico, from all over. They're coming back because if they don't, they have to pay massive tariffs at the gate. I call them tariffs at the gate. But it is true, I was criticized very badly because I said it was my favorite word. They said, what about God? What about wife, family? What about all of the things that make your life so wonderful? So I moved it to my fifth favorite word, and now, no, the press was, the press was killing me. I'll never forget, I said, tariff's my favorite word. I love it. I got killed. But now I say it's number 5. And I'm in good shape. But it's made us rich. It's made us rich. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. More importantly, in order to not pay the tariff, all these companies are moving in and building their plants. A lot of them being built in Nevada. A lot of them. And that man right there, Mr. Wall, please stand up. Look at him. He's a rich guy. Could you believe? You know what? He's a rich guy because he must have been to 300 rallies, I think more than that. He's loaded. You had him checked out, a little bit shaky there. Say, what's with that guy with the Wall outfit? I'm going to get one of their. I'm going to wear it one day, I'm telling you. And they checked him out. They said, sir, he's a very rich man. He has to be. He goes to so many rallies. And we do love you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. And our great front row Joes and our great women from North Carolina, they travel all over the place. They're loaded. They're beautiful. I don't know what the hell's going on with their home life, but they travel. They've gone to hundreds of these. But here in Nevada, we've created over 40,000 new jobs and lifted nearly 100,000 Nevadans off of food stamps. And they don't want to be on food stamps because they've got new jobs. They've got jobs. They don't need food stamps. Last month, inflation dropped at the fastest rate it's dropped in many years, and more Americans are working today. So the biggest thing for this whole thing, more Americans are working in the United States right now than at any point in the history of our country. Think of that. Think of that. You don't hear that. I saw polls today on television. I say, Donald Trump polls on the economy aren't good. The economy is the greatest economy we've ever had by far. The economy aren't good. They're fake polls, just like fake writers. But think of it. And his stance on immigration. Immigration. In 30 days, I stopped millions and millions of people from invading our country. Think of it. Our country was being invaded. 25 million people poured through our southern border, and they came from jails, and they were drug dealers, and they were people from mental institutions. They were mental institutions all over the world, not just South America, all over the world. They opened their doors, they brought them into the southern border, and they released them into our country. We're getting them all out. They're all getting out very fast. They're all getting out very fast. But think of it. Nobody ever thought a thing like this could happen. And in the last 15 months, and these are reports, and you've heard me say this before, it's 14, it's 13, it's 12, depending, but now it's 15 months, right? Not one person has been allowed to come into our country illegally. And that's been done by the Democrats who do the reports. I'm sure they're happy with it. Can't have a country without a border. Can't have a country without a border. And you can't have a country without free and fair elections, too. So we want voter ID, and we want proof of citizenship. But we're rocking, and we're rolling. This country is great. What's happening to this country is great. And, ultimately, they're not going to be able to stop this because what's happening is too good. But think of that. I got criticized on immigration. When I took over, millions of people were pouring into our country. Millions. And they weren't necessarily, I don't want to say it, but they weren't necessarily the people you want, because they did. They came from jails from all over the world. They came from all of these different places. Drug dealers, 11,888 murders, 50%, more than 50% of whom created or killed more than two people. So think of this. So you had 11,880. That's the number of murderers that came in, according to every statistic. And we checked the charts. 11,888 murderers. Many of these people killed more than one or two people. And do you think they're going to be great citizens or not? They came in totally unchecked, totally unvetted, and our country was a mess. Our country was going down, and now our country is it's strong again, and it's respected. And the stock market has set 74 all-time highs just since our short time that we've been back. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in my first term. You know that. This is going to blow it away. It already is, I think, but this is blowing it away. 74, the highest stock markets in history. Yesterday went up almost 1,000 points, right? And the typical American 401k is up much more than $30,000 and setting records day after day, week after week. And more money is being invested right now in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. Money is pouring into it. They want to invest in the United States. Before, they wanted to de-invest. They want their money out. That's what was happening. People were taking their money out. Now they're all putting it in. They love the safety of this country as run properly by us. And it's not me, it's us, because you're the people that built the country, believe me. In 4 long years of sleepy Joe Biden and the very corrupt, and it was the most corrupt administration, they got less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. So think of this. 4 years, not 1 year, 4 years, less than $1 trillion invested. And it was going down. They would have had de-investment, it's called. In 1 year, so he had 4 years, less than one. In 1 year, my administration secured commitments of more than $19.2 trillion in new investment from all over the globe. And that's a record that's 5 times greater than any country in history. Think of that. The sad part is, I say this to Dana because he understands, I say it to Fertitta. The brothers, they're smart too. What a beautiful families. Are they loaded? They're loaded. They own this hotel, They own this beautiful hotel. which I'm sure is doing well because everything they have does well. And a guy like Phil Ruffin's here, one of the greatest gamblers in the world, but also one of the greatest businessmen in the world. He made a fortune here, but he made a fortune every place he goes. He just makes money. I don't know. He's a money machine. The great Phil Ruffin. And Alexandra, his much more incredible wife. I'm more impressed by her. But Phil has made a fortune no matter where he went. Everything he touches turns to gold. He's incredible. We have incredible people here. But right here in Nevada, General Motors and Lithium Americas are investing up to $1.6 billion to build the Thacker Pass mine. Many people in this audience are going to be working there, and you are working there. And Forge Industries and others are investing $150 million in manufacturing facilities in North Las Vegas. And we have, in just this small area, you have your governor here today, in just this small, who's running, and will you please win by a big number? Where's our governor? Where's our governor? He's doing a great job. You got to get him. He's in a re-election. I can't believe time flies so fast, Governor. Right? Very importantly for the people of the state, with the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, last year I signed the great, big, beautiful bill giving you the largest tax cuts in American history. You got no tax on tips that Dana was talking about. So if you're a waiter, a waitress, a bartender, a bellhop, a caddy, I love caddies, a valet, a hotel worker, taxi driver in Las Vegas or anywhere else, anywhere, you pay zero taxes on your tipped income. You know, I was having dinner with a group of people, including Ruffin, and we were talking, a lot of people, smart people, and beautiful waitress came over. I'm not allowed to say that today, but I'll say it anyway. She was beautiful. What can I say? She was beautiful. In my place, steak, good steak, by the way. So we're eating, and this beautiful young lady walks over, and I said, how you doing? Everything good? Sir, they're taxing me to death. I said, really? What are they taxing? They're taxing my tips. Sir, they should have no tax on tips. I said, say it again. Say those words again. Sir, they should have no tax on tips. I said, boy, that got me. I think that, Governor, I think that might have got me this massive victory that we had in this state. And I went out, and we had those people. See all those people back there, the fake news? And in the middle of my meal, I gathered them together right out the door to the steakhouse. And I said, are you ready to go? Yes, sir, we're ready. The cameras. We will have no tax on tips. And it became an overnight sensation. That's how it happened, actually. That's how she was my consultant. She did a better job than, you hire these people, you pay them millions of dollars, they don't come up with crap. Takes a waitress from Las Vegas to give us some good ideas. And then we also gave you something that some of you are, especially if you're in the construction stuff, that I love. No tax on overtime. Last week, I'm building this big military complex, including a lot of different things, and some of the things I can't even talk about, although it's become very public, because like usual, everything I do, they get sued, but I win the suits. I think I've been sued more times than any human being in history. But it's unbelievable what's happening. It's a tremendous military complex, and for 150 years at the White House, we don't have a ballroom. We don't have a big space. You can seat like 80, 90 people. So we're building a ballroom that everybody's going to be the most beautiful ballroom. I don't care, Fertitta, what your ballroom is. Is this your ballroom? I'm telling you, Fertitta, that's going to be nice, sir. Much nice. But this is very nice. I want to be nice. But I'm building they wanted it for 150 years. And I was out, and they're really moving along. We're ahead of schedule. And it was a Sunday morning. They should be in church, so I don't want to get them in trouble. But there were a lot of men working on Sunday. There were a lot of men working late into the night. They work until 12 in the evening. They go till 12 in the evening. And this one morning, I went over and gathered a group of about 150 people, guys, some women, good workers, great people. And I said, you got to love me because you're making all this overtime working on Saturdays and Sundays and late. And there's no tax on overtime. Did everybody vote for me? And they all said, yeah, I voted. No, you know what that is? A lot of people, the tax on overtime was so great they didn't even want to do it. Now they love doing it. There's a lot of work going on overtime. No tax on overtime. And then you maybe have the granddaddy of them all, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Right? And we made interest on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car's made in America. That's, you know, people that are, let's call middle income, successful, but they never had, like Fertitta, they never had the advantage, or Phil Ruffin, they never had the advantage of a thing called deductions, right? A lot of rich people live on the word deduction. They've never had it. We give, so you buy a car, you borrow money, and you're now allowed to deduct for income tax purposes. You're allowed to deduct the interest that you're paying on the loan. Nobody ever thought it. That was my baby. And it's, but only if the car's made here. If the car's made outside, we don't care about it. Yeah, we don't care. We don't want you to buy cars not made in it. We want to be made in America. Beautiful term. It's back. It's back. This past filing season, 440,000 tipped workers right here in Nevada saved an average of $10,000 on their taxes. Think of that. Just on the no tax on tips. So that means every worker saved, this is put out by the government, check it out. I always say that because they always try and get me. They say, oh, it wasn't 10,000. It was 9,912. Think of it, every worker made $10,000 more money. That's all because of the fact that I said I was going to do it, and I got it done. We got it done. The Republican Party got it done. And the Democrats will terminate it if they ever take office. They will terminate that. They were able to do that. We can't let that happen. 150,000 Nevada workers saved an average of more than $3,000 thanks to the no tax on overtime. So that's 10,000, 3,000. And 500,000 Nevada seniors, I didn't know you had that many seniors here, paid $0 on their Social Security benefits thanks to no tax on Social Security. It's a lot of money. But while the Trump administration and our allies in Congress, the Republican Party, they've done a great job. That bill is the greatest bill. I think it's one of the most impactful bills ever. You know, and it was supposed to be 17 different bills. And they said, I don't think we can, these are lunatics we're dealing with, the Democrats. I said, I don't think we'll ever get that many. Let's put everything into one. That's how we call it. It's actually called the one big, but I call it the great big because I like that term better. I named it the one big, and then I said, why didn't I call it the great big? But I use it all the time, great big. But that was all in the great big, beautiful bill. Governor, nobody thought we were going to get that passed. Everything was put in there for 4 years. I mean, it was basically, and now we're asking for more because, you know, we're greedy. Now we're asking for a lot of other things. A lot of other things are in the hopper. A lot of other good things, not bad things, good things for you. But in Congress, we're working every day to defend the American dream for you and your children. The radical left, the maniacs, they're trying to destroy it with the disaster known as not socialism, communism. It's communism. These are communists. And the polls were wrong again last night when they thought it would be a landslide victory for a hater of Jews and a hater of Israel. This guy hates Jews. Somebody said, oh, that's a little strong. No, he hates Jews and he hates Israel. Abdul El-Sayed. Can you believe this? This could only happen to me. Abdul El-Sayed, lovely gentleman. He's a man of hate. And now he's going around saying, no, I love everybody. He doesn't love everybody. Put him in office. You're going to find out what he loves. He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He hates them. He hates them with a passion that burns in his heart, and there's not a frickin' thing he can do about it. There's not a thing he can do about it because he hates them. And in Michigan, it was really very close. The press, the polls and the polls by the press. Oftentimes, the press hires the polls. They want to have it a certain way, but the polls got it really wrong because it was supposed to be a blowaway, and he almost lost. But he's going to lose to our great candidate. We have a great candidate in Michigan. Great candidate. But the socialist candidate ran up big margins against the communist candidate in Detroit. And I was saying that probably it's corrupt. It's probably corrupt. I don't know who the hell they wanted. I couldn't care less. We do better. Actually, we do better against the communists, according to every poll. The poll says we do better against the communists. So he won, and so I think I'm happy. I put out a statement. Congratulations to the Republican Party. The communists want to take their ruinous and deadly ideology of misery and squalor to every state in America, but we're not going to let them. And I will say this, one of the things that I have seen with communism throughout the world, I see a lot of different places being president. I see a lot of results, too, a lot of bad results when you have the wrong people and the wrong ideology. But one of the things I see, and you see it here in the blue states run by Democrats, everything's filthy dirty all the time. The cities stink, they smell, the sidewalks are loaded with horrible stuff. I don't want to use the term because my wife will get she hates it when I use the term. I use it, but she doesn't love it. She hates it when I imitate no men and women's sports. She hates it when I do the weightlifting. She said, it's not presidential. I said, well, it may not be presidential, but I won the election in a landslide, so I don't know. Right? We won it. Good. Well, she's very elegant, Melania says hello to everybody, by the way. But she's very, very elegant. She did a movie. I think it's the #1 movie of the year. Can you believe it? But she's very elegant. She hates, as an example, at the end, we're finished. There's a lot of love in the room. Look, what's not to be loved? We have great borders. Our military is the greatest in the world, the strongest. We inherited a terrible mess. I inherited a mess from Obama, and I inherited, frankly, I rebuilt the military. But a lot of our military was badly jeopardized by Sleepy Joe Biden. I mean, they gave everything. They gave so much away. $350 billion, I would say, is a lot of money. Even for Dana White, that's a lot of money, Gave away 350. I sell everything. They were willing to pay. It's the Europeans. They have plenty of money. They don't have a good military because they've relied on us too long. They can't. I told them you can't do that, NATO. But their military said, we will send you things, but you got to pay for them. They said, okay. Now, Biden could have said the same thing. He gave everything for free, and it really messed things up. But fortunately, we have it so strong, and we've been building like never before. And it's all made in America. It's all made. A lot of it's made right here. But on the communists, just listen to the official platform of the deranged communists. And these are the people running, and they're trying to run as a big danger to our country, whose agenda is now being championed by the Democrat members of the United States Congress. They have officially endorsed defunding the police, defunding the United States military, abolishing and giving up prisons. They do not want prisons, because nobody deserves to be in prison, even a person that's killed 10 people. Abolishing ICE. They don't want ICE. ICE are among our greatest patriots. Remember that. And these guys, what they do, when they have to get Tren de Aragua from Venezuela. But now I love Venezuela. I love it. We're doing great in Venezuela. We're taking a lot of oil from Venezuela, and we're getting along great with them. Billions and billions of barrels of oil is coming out of Venezuela. It's one of the most fertile places for oil in the world. And as you know, it was a 48-minute war, lasted 48 minutes. And we paid for the war with what we've taken out many, many, many times. Where have you heard that before? You haven't heard that before. It's the old-fashioned way, right? It's the old-fashioned way. To the victor belong the spoils, right? And we're doing the same thing, by the way, in the lovely Islamic Republic of Iran. We're knocking the hell out of it. Knocking the hell out of it. I'd rather make a deal because I don't want to kill people. I do not want to kill people. But at some point, we were set for the biggest attack of any attack, and we've hit them very hard for the last few months. But we were all set for the biggest attack since World War II. And they called me and they said, please don't do it, let's talk. And then they said, we never said that. You know what? The fake news knows they did say that. But we are talking, let's see what happens. But they respect us. They respect us. It's been 47 years, but really it's been 50 years because they've been saying 47 for 3 years. It's been 50 years. And no other president has done what you should have done a long time ago, because Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Can't have it. But just last week, Kamala Harris called for eliminating the Electoral College. And she said she wants to pack the Supreme Court, and the number is 23 justices. We have 9. She wants Marxist judges who all stick together. You know, the Republican judges or justices don't stick together. They don't stick together. But these 3 people that they have, they're like glue. They never veer. And in many ways, I respect that. I must tell you, they're horrible for our country. It's too bad they're on. A couple of them just don't belong. I'd like to fire them. I'd fire them if I could. I'm just responding for the meeting. I'm just responding to them. They'll say, Trump wants to fire the judges. That'll be the... No, I'm just responding. I'm just responding. The man said, fire them, sir, fire them. The Communist platform also calls for legalizing heroin and fentanyl. And by the way, we have no fentanyl coming in by sea anymore, practically. None. Almost none. 97% down. Think of it. Coming by sea. They come by sea. They said, oh, this is so lovely out. They have their little boat loaded up with fentanyl, enough to kill 25,000 people a boat. That's what you have. Ruined families. So you don't feel as bad when you do what we did. But we hit them very hard. And we cut it. It was, you know, for years, people would go out. They'd have the Coast Guard, our great Coast Guard, go out, pull them over, bring them to court. The judge would look at them, let them go. They'd give them a little fine. They'd go back. They'd be on a boat the next day, the next night, doing the same thing. We hit them. That's it. We're down 97.2%. 97.2. Actually, people are trying to find out who are the 3%, because they are the bravest human beings on earth, okay? Maybe they just don't watch television or read the newspapers. Thank you very much. Thank you. But the radical left wants to ban a thing called gasoline. Gasoline. We have 1,000 years of gasoline, and it's what people prefer. And, you know, I ended the electric mandate. I don't want to talk about it because Elon wasn't exactly thrilled with me, but I had to do it. We love Elon. But I ended because it said that within a very short period of time, like 2030, everybody had to have an electric car, even though there was no way you could charge it. You ever see the signs you're driving along in an electric car? They have a disease. You know, it's a disease. It's called, like, they get screwed up, they're driving, and they realize their battery's getting low, and they start thinking about it when it's 3/4 full. Okay, it loses a little bit. They say, where am I going to? And you're driving down the highway, and you'll see a sign, electric charging station with an arrow, 89 miles to the right. These people are crazy. And I like electric cars. You know, we sell 7% of our car, despite all of the taxes and all of the things that we gave away, 7%. But the thing is, we have unlimited, we have more gasoline, but we have more oil and gas than any country in the world. Now you add Venezuela to it, add that, and we have 60% of the world's oil and gas, including Venezuela. Think of that. What a great thing. By the way, we have a great relationship, I want to tell you, with Venezuela. They've been great. But the Communist platform calls for full amnesty and voting rights for 25 to 50 million illegal aliens. That's probably why they allowed them in, because they want them to vote. And actually, I won the Hispanic vote. Can you believe it? I won the Hispanic vote. So they may have misplayed that. They support allowing American military service members to be arrested, given show trials, and imprisoned by foreign globalist tribunals controlled by our enemies. They allow our soldiers to be arrested and tried in a foreign land and put in jail for the rest of that soldier's life. Doesn't happen anymore. And in Wisconsin, the communists even have a woman who said that the holiday of Thanksgiving should be immediately abolished, and the police only exist to, quote, uphold white supremacy, that the police are there for white person. Think of it. White supremacy. These people are dangerous, and frankly, they're lunatics. They're crazy, and we can't let them get into office. Communism is the greatest threat to our country in its history, including even World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. I think it's the greatest threat. I could be the greatest communist in history. I tell everybody here, would you like a free house? We'll take one from your neighbor. Would you like free rent? We'll take it from whoever. We'll take your building away from the landlord that makes 2%, and we'll run the building ourselves. What they don't say, and what Republicans should say, is that at the end of a year, you'll have nothing but death, squalor, poverty. You'll have a life of hell. And that's what happens every single time. You look at Venezuela, where it was such a rich country 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and it happened, and we've really helped them, and we're going to help them. But, you know, they're lucky because they're sitting on massive oil reserves, but we are going to help the people that we want to help. But every time this has happened, and you do that, you go through squalor, and add the word again, filth, crime, death, destruction, embarrassment. You lose your home, you lose your apartment, and that's where the communists will take us 100%. When I watch Abdul, he's full of shit. So, if you remember, during my State of the Union speech from a little while ago, I made a very strong statement. I said that America will never be a socialist country. And I was right. What I didn't say is what they're trying to do. They want to skip socialism. They want to go right down to the bottom of the barrel. That's communism. They want it to be a communist country. We're not letting them have it as a communist country, not even for a minute. Not even for a minute. Together we will defeat communism, socialism, and Marxism in America once and for all. It's defeated. It's going to go down. It always goes down, but sometimes it takes a lot of people with it. It takes too long. You got to nip it in the bud. The Democrat communists in Congress claim to stand for working people, but every single one voted against our tax cuts. They voted against securing the border. They wanted open borders. The Democrats voted against securing the border. They want to raise your taxes to levels that you've never had to pay before. Remember this. They want to raise your taxes. You know, all my life I've been watching politics, and I never knew I'd be doing this. Who the hell ever thought I'd be doing it? But all my life I've been watching, and every politician, Democrat, Republican, they always said, we will cut your taxes, even if they didn't have any intention of doing it. They always say it. You know, I said, that guy is lying. He's not telling the truth. But I'd watch, we will cut your tax. These guys say we will raise your tax. They say we're going to raise your taxes. I never heard of anything. And then they actually get votes. The whole thing is crazy. But they voted against no tax on tips. They voted against no tax on overtime. They voted against no tax on Social Security. But when I say voted against, 100%. There wasn't one Democrat that voted in favor of these incredible things like voter ID and proof of citizenship. They voted against that, even though the actual Democrats, think of it, the Democrats want it. You know who doesn't want it? The politicians, because they'll never get elected again. If you had fair and strong elections, they would lose 25% of their base. They would never be elected again. And I'm trying to explain that to Republicans, but some of them don't quite understand it. They don't understand it because they're good people. They're good people. They don't know how crooked these people are. I've dealt with a lot of crooked people in my life. They don't know how bad these people are. We got to get the Republicans to be tougher, especially in the Senate, especially in our Senate. Got to get the senators in there. They got to be tough. But they voted in favor of the transgender mutilization of your children. And they voted in favor of men and women's sports. Can you imagine? But while the Democrat communists are voting to destroy America, we're making our country safer, stronger, far more successful than it has ever been before. It's more successful than it's ever been before. One of the most important parts of our great, big, beautiful bill is the Trump accounts, giving every child a tax-free investment. It's an account, and it's really giving them a head start on the American dream and it's become overwhelmingly close to 8 million people have already been signed up. Every newborn baby gets $1,000 deposited in their Trump account at birth. That's right out of the federal government. $1,000, you baby, $1,000. And generous individuals like Michael and Susan Dell Computer. Go out and buy a Dell computer. Brad Gerstner, Micron, Apple, so many companies. They go out there spending billions and billions of dollars. Michael and Susan put up $6,250 million. And now he wants to do it again. He says it's the greatest thing he's ever done. It's great. And others. We have a man, he's taken over the state, all the children. He's putting in the state of Indiana, great state, putting $1,000 into all of these young children. Think of it. A child, and in many cases, they're born into pretty close to poverty, or they're poor. They don't have money. They start off with $1,000, and it's going to duplicate, and they can end up with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 if the market, what, like for the last year of the market, you'd end up with $1 million. But let's not count on that, because other people will take my place and they'll screw it up 100%. But think of what you're doing for those children, that have no money at all at 18, and now they'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a great thing and very popular. And that's all because of the great, big, beautiful bill. We had to get that approved. And again, not one Democrat, the only way we could do it, we had to get a unified Republican Party, because we didn't get one Democrat vote for the great, big, beautiful bill where these children are given $1,000 at birth. We couldn't get them to vote. You know why? Because they thought it was a great idea. They wish they thought of it. You know why? Because they have Trump derangement syndrome. That's why. Because they're sick. There's something wrong with them. Remember at the State of the Union when I was saying, introducing a great war hero, 104 years old, he fought in World War II and this, and they sat like they never moved. I introduced the helicopter pilot who was so brave he had his leg practically shot off in Venezuela, landing the troops in Venezuela, big Chinook helicopter, loaded up with many, many troops. I'm not supposed to say how many, but a lot. And it had to land in a certain spot, or the whole thing could have been a Jimmy Carter disaster. You remember that? We don't want Jimmy Carter disasters. We don't have that. And he's landing, this good, handsome guy. You saw him, got the Congressional Medal of Honor. We gave it to him. But remember, I introduced him, told him how brave he was. His leg was practically shot off because it was shot from underneath a machine gun, from right underneath the helicopter. It was very close to the ground, and he kept it going. And they ended up getting this. He turned it, and the snipers got him. Oh, the whole thing was crazy. But that they can do this is incredible. So I'm presenting him with he saved all those lives and made this attack. We went in and got Maduro within 30 minutes. The whole thing was over. It was in a military base with thousands of soldiers. 219 guys went in, and a few women, by the way, tough. They're tougher than any of the men sitting in the front row, and I know those men. They went in, and they got him. They got Maduro. They got his wife because she was as bad as him, and they took him out, and he was protected by steel doors. This is the middle of a military base. This was all steel. What they did is incredible. So I'm introducing him for the Congressional Medal of Honor. And the Republicans and everybody else in the room stands up and they're going wild. Just a very brave guy. No, they say people that fly helicopters, because you fly them with your feet, more or less. And here's a guy with a leg that's practically falling off. And so I'm introducing him, and the Republicans go on. The Democrats, remember, just sat like this. Remember? But something happened. Because they were getting killed. Every person I introduced was the same. The mother of the young girl from North Carolina who had her throat slit from the back by an animal because the governor allowed that guy to be free. The governor, who's now running for the Senate, that man should not be able to be elected. Vote for Michael Whatley, by the way, he's great. The governor allowed that animal. And he cut her from behind, cut her neck like nothing. She was almost dead immediately. It's on tape. It's on tape, and the thing takes forever to try. Can you imagine? Here it is on tape. They'll probably find a good reason. They get some nice liberal lawyer to say, he was badly abused. He should go free, But think of it. Think of it. Think of how sick these people are to let a guy like that out, and they shouldn't allow that governor. That was worse than Willie Horton. You remember Willie Horton? This was Willie Horton, modern day. And that guy, that governor, shouldn't be allowed to run for governor because crime in North Carolina under him went through the roof. And he shouldn't be allowed. Michael Whatley should be your governor. But we're pleased to be joined today by two loving parents, Sandra and Brad, from right here in Las Vegas, two great people. Sandra's a waitress in a nearby casino. Maybe we'll get her a job over here. And Brad is a hard-working Las Vegas Metropolitan police officer. And together they save thousands of dollars thanks to no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. And they're investing their money into Sandra's education and Trump accounts, where they just bought Trump accounts for their two young children. So Sandra and Brad, please come up, wherever you may be. Please come up. Come on up. Don't worry about Secret Service. Come on up. That's great. That's a beautiful family. Oh, great. Please say something. Thank you. It's my honor. You want them? Do you want me to hand one? I'll take one. I'll grab that little guy.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you. It's truly an honor. It's truly an honor to stand here before you and speak. Sorry, excuse me. I have a little mom brain going on right now. I'm so sorry. No, he's going to take off. Thank you, truly thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
It's an honor to be here today. Thank you so much for all that you've done enacting these policies that help our family and the families of millions of hardworking Americans. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've worked in the service industry for 15 years. When I first moved here to this beautiful city of Las Vegas, I had 3 jobs working for tips. Working for tips has been my livelihood, and policies like these are truly incredible. Yes, thank you, sir. Every dollar saved truly helps, Mr. President, thank you. And it all goes to them. You know, they're truly my why, my kids. Every dollar counts with children, and we're so grateful for the ability to open the Trump accounts for ours. We're gifted the very generous contribution, the $1,000, and able to start the same for my son. And he did want to say a little something to you, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Go ahead, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for my Trump account. Thank you for my Trump account. Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing, Mr. President. Thank you. It's truly an honor.
You did a good job.
Thank you so much.
And you did.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Be careful.
Thank you.
Bye, honey. Take care of Mom. Take care of Mom, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's so nice. Also with us is a foreman with the Teamsters Local 631, Curtis King. Curtis works 96 hours a week and earns 65% of his income from overtime. When he filed taxes this year, he expected that he'd owe over $11,000 instead of going back, and he didn't know what to do. And Curtis, why don't you come up and tell your story real quickly, if you could. Come on up here, Curtis. I love the Teamsters. Come on up here, Curtis.
To the unions. We don't all get tips, no. But we do work long hours, hard hours. 96 hours a week, yeah, most of the times I'm not up on current affairs. I don't have a clue what's going on the planet. But I can tell you what's going on in Las Vegas. I can tell you where the shows are. I can tell you we fill the beds in this city. And we love every minute of it. And I thank you for allowing us to keep this money that we work so hard for. Yeah, I just gone through a divorce and given up everything, but the fact that I got so much back on my taxes, I still was able to buy a new house. Put her in one, too.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Curtis. Now, we're also pleased to be joined by many Nevada patriots, including your Governor, Joe Lombardo. He's done a good job. Joe, come up real fast. Come on up here, Joe. Come on up, Joe.
Well, you get to see me twice in one day. So, you know what? I just want to build on what the president has been opining about here in the last 4 hours. He cares about America, right? You know, quite often when the press and the media runs him down, they think about, you know, he's taking care of his billionaire friends. But those billionaire friends provide jobs. And unless you take care of them, those jobs are absent. And the government doesn't have the ability to hand out infinite amounts of money. That's not how economies work. That's why they're pushing socialism so hard. But President Trump has changed that whole mindset, and America is that much greater because of his efforts. And it's not lost on me, no tax on tips benefits more people in the state of Nevada than anywhere else in the United States. So when people talk to me about Donald Trump, I'm proud to say he loves Nevada. And you love him too, right? There you go. So I'm going to leave you with this. Remember what I said on my way out earlier. Get out to vote. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Joe. And thanks to all of the true warriors. And I tell you, we have some great people. Adriana Guzman Freilich, your candidate for Attorney General, is doing fantastically well. Thank you, Adriana. A very special man. I wish you'd get him in office because he's incredible. I've known him so long, and he's got to get in. He just has to. He had a big victory, just a really big victory with spending very little money because everyone respects him. Jim Marchant, he's a candidate for Secretary of State. David Flippo, candidate for Congress, who's doing really well. Thank you, David. Marty O'Donnell, candidate for Congress, who I hear is doing incredibly. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. Good job. State Senator Carrie Buck, candidate for Congress. Thank you, Carrie. And let me also recognize the CEO and chairman of Red Rock Resorts, Frank Fertitta, and his brother, Lorenzo. They are amazing. And their families are incredible. Beautiful family. Perfect. They have perfect everything. They have beautiful families, I can tell you. And my really good friend who I mentioned before, Phil Ruffin, and his incredible wife, Alexandra. Please stand up, Phil. And a handsome actor named Dean Cain, who's been with us from the beginning. Right from the beginning, Dean. Thank you, Dean. And a Las Vegas icon, and he's a big television sensation. His show went on, it did great. Rick Harrison. Rick, thank you. Been a long time, too. And a friend of mine, and he was with me in good times and bad times, and I've been with him in good times and bad times, but he's a fantastic person. I actually went to his Broadway show, and everybody smiled at him doing a Broadway show, and he was actually fantastic. I've seen a lot of Broadway shows, and he was fantastic. The legendary Mike Tyson. Thank you, Mike. Beautiful wife, great couple. Thank you, Mike. Thank you both for being here. Under the Trump administration, Nevada is prospering. Again, you're prospering like you haven't done in many, many years. And America is winning again because we're once again putting America first. It's very simple. We're putting our country first. Every single day, we're liberating our communities from the scourge of migrant crime. You saw what happened last week in Spain, where 60,000 migrants stampeded against the border, invaded and occupied the town, attacked innocent citizens, and rioted in the streets. And that's what communists want for America. That's what they were doing to us. Frankly, as bad as that looked, and it looked bad, what they did to us during Biden was worse, and they want to do it again. They want to do it again. The people of Nevada aren't going to let it happen, and your president's not going to let it happen. And so important. And again, we have the strongest border in the history of our country. But right here in Las Vegas, ICE recently arrested an illegal migrant who brutally stabbed and tried to murder his 2 roommates. He was violent. In Lyon County, ICE arrested an illegal alien convicted of 2 counts of sexually assaulting a child. He was vicious as you could be. The police almost didn't, and they are our law enforcement. We have to have a hand for law enforcement. They said this was so bad, they almost didn't know what to do, but they did know. They take him away. That's why under the Trump administration, we will always stand with ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement. We will always stand strong with law enforcement. And we're also kicking all of these millions of illegal aliens off of our welfare. And it's part of the war on fraud led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's doing a great job. And as illegal aliens go home, the cost of rent, groceries, and other staples is coming down very fast. Our costs are coming way down. You know, they talk about affordability. I took over the country. The prices were through the roof. In my first day, the press said, "What are you going to do about affordability?" It was a word they devised, affordability. No, they never used that word before. They said eggs are way too high, 4 times higher than they were in my administration. I said, "Tell me about eggs. Give me a little description of what you..." I was there one day. I had just won the election. It was January 21st, one day after I gave one day where I didn't do a press conference. Biden would go a whole year without doing a press conference for obvious reasons, for very obvious reasons. But we've been bringing down prices. And as soon as this situation ends with Iran, oil is going to go down to the floor, gasoline's going to go down, and we will have completed something in a short period of time that is a miracle. But remember, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. You got to remember that. And we took it over. What a mess it was. And we're bringing down prices, and we brought down prices, and nobody can believe what's going on. And when oil goes down, and it's going to go down very rapidly, and it's happening very soon, already happening. If you look, today it's $75, down to $75. It's dropping. And we may have to send it up again. We may have to. You know what happens when we send it up, but we hope we don't have to. But when that oil and gasoline go down, everything else follows. But we've done a great job in reducing prices, and we've done an unbelievable job in making our country really, really respected and successful again. But under my most favored nation policy on drug prices, just to finish up, we're delivering the largest prescription drug price cuts in the history of our country, with price differences of 400, 500, and 600%. You know, my first term, I was the only president that over a one-year period, I got the prices down. They came down a little bit from January to the end of December. And I'll tell you how much they came down, 0.1%. Now you hear price differences of 500, 600, 700%. That alone should win us the midterms, because that has an impact on everything. And the Democrats will go back to the policies they gave you. We had the highest prices for prescription drugs of any country in the world, and now we have the lowest because of one person, happens to be the President of the United States. And in just 18 months, we've turned this country completely around. Our border is secure. Jobs are up. Inflation is down. Investment is pouring in like never before. Factories are opening. Our military is more powerful than it has ever been. America is back, and our greatest victories are still to come. We are having victory, and we're going to keep it that way, victory after victory. And with the help of our Republican majorities in Congress, We will crush violent crime, impose harsh new penalties on dangerous repeat offenders, crack down on Marxist prosecutors and rogue judges who are a horror show for our country. And we will end the thing that probably started this big crime wave, no cash bail. No cash bail. We will pass the Great Health Care Plan. It's called the Great Health Care Plan, to stop all payments to big insurance companies and give the money directly to the people. They give billions and billions of dollars because the big health insurance companies and insurance companies, they're totally controlled by the Democrats. We want to give the money not to the insurance companies, but to the people, and you go out and you buy your own health care, and you have money left over. You have better health care and money left over. And finally, we will pass the Save America Act to defend American elections. Thank you. Thank you. Remember, we didn't have one Democrat vote, not one for that, not one. All voters must show photo ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. And hopefully at a later date, there'll be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And we will also enshrine in permanent law no men and women's sports and no transgender surgery on our children. So, ladies and gentlemen, and you are indeed great people. You're the people that built our country. But ladies and gentlemen of Nevada, the golden age of America is upon us. We're in the golden age. We're doing things that nobody ever thought possible. And together with your help and patriots all across this magnificent land have been so unbelievable in what's taken place. You're part of it's a miracle. What's taken place is, some people call it a miracle. We call it good government. But we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Nevada. Thank you.
The president with a fiery speech. He spoke for a long time. I mean, he just kept going. Pretty awesome. Love that. I have a whole bunch more content. I mean, I've got the fraud roundtable. I've got the DOJ. I'm going to hold all that stuff tomorrow because we're already at 2.5 hours. And SB's got a couple of stories. We'll run through your stories because, geez.
I'm glad you didn't cut to me earlier. I was doing a dance, man.
I'm like, we'll be here all night. You have to order in, bring food in, bring food in.
Uber.
Oh my God.
Bringing the food, people.
Yes. I want to show everybody this one because it basically is a part of what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. Like I said, I would talk about it today, but it's a long, like 30-minute press conference. Let me download this as like a preview video that you posted here. So this morning, J.D. Vance and the fraud roundtable were in the press building, wherever it is. And one of the people is Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz, he wasn't at the press conference today, but SV just gave me a video of him. He went on Martha McCallum's show on Fox. So this would be a good appetizer. It's unbelievable. This stuff just keeps happening.
Who are literally ripping off American taxpayers in the name of providing home care in Flushing, just a few miles from here?
Martha, what a beautiful question. Here's the reality. I met with the Southern District. You know, this is a prominent group of law enforcement officers. And what they tell me is that the rules that govern these programs are so poor. They have an unlicensed person providing an unmonitored service in an unmonitored setting. Who are they going to go after? So we have to actually create rules that law enforcement can enforce. And when you have, it is a racket. And I'll tell you, in my agency, to answer your first part of that question, we had 6 people left in the agency doing fraud in Medicaid. The prior administration told people, we don't want you going after this. I don't want to be embarrassed, they said, with you finding things that don't jive with our philosophy. So you guys go do something else, keep yourself busy, or leave. But I don't want you telling us about fraud. When I came into the agency, we had a lot of people who actually wanted to deal with these problems, who were told that they couldn't before, and they are now aggressively doing their jobs. That's why we have been so successful. We've already stopped $42 billion from leaving this building. We have a lot more to do, Martha. And I pledge to you, on behalf of the task force, we're showing up for work every day.
Well, I'm so glad to hear.
42 billion, which is it's paltry compared to what JD Vance said today. JD Vance talked about there being 200 and something billion dollars. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know what we do about it. I think this is this might be the JD Vance here. Let's go ahead and play this real quick.
Sure.
The base of the Democratic Party just wants radicals. It wants these DSA types. It wants people who hate even the idea of private property ownership. But it also, I think, tells us that that particular set of ideas is very popular in places you wouldn't expect. Because outside, he's this guy who holds himself out as a working class hero, as a guy who's going to fight for the working class. How does he fight for the working class? By flooding his state and his country with low-wage immigrants. Of course, those people will drive down the wages of the working class. And he also doesn't want to do anything to protect the Michigan auto industry. He has fought against the Trump tariffs that have saved the Michigan auto industry.
At the end of the day, nearly half of Democrats still rejected El Sayed's platform. And
that's exactly what I said earlier. Half the Democrats don't want this. So obviously you can see between JD Vance coming out and President Trump almost simultaneously, while President Trump's on stage, JD Vance is on with the Will Cain show, and they both came out with fangs right after Abdul Sayed. Because obviously they can smell the blood in the water. Michigan was supposed to be a swing state, and I think they're smelling the blood right now, probably tasting the blood and realizing we can take Michigan. We can absolutely take Michigan.
Sure.
The Democrats messed up. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a Graham Plattner and just pull him. I mean,
who would they bring in?
Does it matter? I mean, they seem to pluck some idiot out of there. I mean, I don't know if you saw when if you saw when Syed was talking, but while he was talking, one of the things, the woman, what's her name, Mallory something, the redheaded white woman, did you see her standing behind him? She had a 4%, what do you call it, 4% of the vote she brought in. What's playing? I hear something playing. You hear something playing?
No, I just heard a ding though.
Oh, okay. So something's playing. My headphones, I talked them out again. So something in here is playing. Let me. But go ahead. Oh, I know where. I know where it is. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Let me. Yeah.
I need to get you some batteries.
No, we got to have shorter shows.
No, we don't. People want long shows. They love these long shows. Right, folks?
Shorter show. Because once I get to about 2.5 hours, I'm probably going to have to replace this, because once I get to about 2.5 hours, it starts telling me, "Hey, man, we need to be recharged." I'm like, gosh, let me try with just one of them in over on this side. That'd be better. But anyway, I think it's. I don't know. They have decided before they would swap somebody out. What do you think?
I don't know who it'd be. I mean, everybody they bring out is garbage. They're not qualified. You know. I mean, honestly, I think a cardboard cutout would be probably a better choice at this point.
All right. So you had one more in here. I wanted to get to.
Interesting stories. Yep. Which one?
What's this?
The Rubio.
Yeah, talk to me about this.
All right. So this was about an hour or so ago. Marco Rubio is moving to require that some immigrants pay a $250,000 bond for a visa to prove that they will not come to America and leech off taxpayer welfare. The pilot program takes effect days from now and will begin expanding to multiple countries. Amen. Here we go.
Why is that bad? The whole idea is you're coming
Not
here
bad.
to not to basically be a drain on our society. Also, there was one I forgot to show everybody earlier before we line up. I don't know if you saw this one, SV. Activist Judge Ana Reyes.
Yes.
She admits defeat, and so they're no longer the whole fight for the temporary protective status of the Haitian immigrants. It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
They waved the white flag. There's no more. Like we said weeks ago, all they try to do is buy time. They know that the rulings, and sure enough, it's falling apart. So it's over. It's absolutely over. I'm happy. I feel
They're
bad.
just speed bumps.
I feel
Speed
bad
bumps
for
on the
some.
way to victory.
I feel bad for some of the Haitians and Venezuelans who were sold a bill of goods by the Democrats. Because that's what happened. Don't worry about it. You're going to be here forever. You don't got to worry about filing papers. And now these people are going to have to leave because they had plenty of time to actually do it the right way. They just chose not to. So
yeah. Well, the dogs, cats, and geese are all very happy today to hear that.
I got to get that song. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Oh,
yeah,
my God.
Remember that? Oh, that was a great meme.
That was funny. All right. Let me do
Have a
super
great night,
chats.
sir.
I got a whole bunch of stuff waiting for tomorrow already. I mean, we got all kinds of stuff. And maybe, what's her name? Caroline Levitt will do a press conference tomorrow. That's possible.
Sounds good. See you soon.
Did you see if, has he posted anything else on True Social? Let me just do a quick round.
I checked about 2 minutes ago. Nothing.
Nothing. So he'll be back on the plane shortly, and I'm sure that's when he'll do something. All right. Thank you. Thanks,
All right. See you.
All right. So let me do super chats. Hope you guys, you can see the man was fired up today. He was definitely fired up. Looked energetic. So he must be getting rest on the plane or something. I mean, he was in California yesterday and Vegas today. It just keeps going. Energizer president for sure. All right. So let me do this. Oops, wrong button. That's the button I want to use. All right. Caleb Holland. That's a different name. Thank you for answering my question yesterday. How do I get to find access to your stock investing course you mentioned? Very interested to learn. I will ask Ashley if she can get if the replay link is still up to Ross, and so Ross Given. So let me find out. I will make sure, endeavor to find out if people can still access that tomorrow. Definitely get it for you. G. Fisher, Fox assisted with 23/7 coverage of the snack bar, Michigan, all for ratings. Enemy of the people. Yes, indeed. Tommy, a lot of Republicans voted in the open primary for Syed because they know he will be easier to beat in November. And obviously they will go back to Republicans in November. So that's another positive if it's accurate. I don't know. I don't know if it was an open primary. If it was, that'd be very interesting. Very interesting. I have to check that. Andrew, maybe Alo snack bar candidates are Trump plants. That'd be, that would be interesting. Natalie from Canada, thank you very much. Fazul, Hillary cheated Bernie a bigger gift than he realized. Man, when they booted him, what a mistake they made. Bukowski left socialism in 1982, and now it's right in my face. Where'd you leave from? If that's your name, did you leave like European bloc or something? Would love to know. Moshe Schumer is a Jew in name only because he's not religious, so he doesn't concern himself with things that might backfire on him. That's so scary, so scary. Natalie, again, thank you very much, Natalie. Thank you very much. Liddell, I think we're expecting our 9/12 moment, but not in the way most expected. Trump said the reason for the pause was to show how badly it really was, so it will be much easier to do what's necessary. I believe that. Alec, time for the Insurrection Act. Long past that time. We're all waiting. Alec, again, Bernie forgot he's a millionaire. They won't spare him, and Jewish on top of that. Yeah, Jewish millionaire, as if he's going to control these parasites. That's what the part that doesn't make any sense. All these people have money, and they know that they Robin always tells me, she goes, the elite think they're going to be okay. They think they're the ones who can control the Frankenstein, and I don't think they've realized that there's no controlling what they've put out there. Linnell, the party of the rich want to make people rich, and the party of the poor want to make people poor. And it's not always money that makes people rich. It's life choices. I'm not money rich. I'm life rich, which means you are wealthy. Fazul, 47 sued more times than Walmart aisle slip and falls. They keep running to these judges. That's one thing we definitely have to change is that the judge structure. Bruce, Toby Keith said it best with the song courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. Love that song. Put a boot up your you-know-what. Mary, I brought up the Trump account to my Democrat friends, and she had a fit like I had sworn at her. So she's more upset that it is a Trump account than it is taking care of her kids. That's how you know somebody is just completely crazy. It's like this, forget the name on it. This is good for your children. Your children are going to have a set-aside account so that by the time they're 18 or 20, they're going to have a lump sum of money. Nope, don't want to do it. Trump's name on it. Then you're bat poop crazy. You are absolutely bat poop crazy. No help. I've told you many times, there's a certain amount of people who are never coming back to normalcy. Never going to happen. Milo Shack, evil will never prevail. Absolutely right. Chiosop, Indian Elmo is gone. No more Sri Theandar. Oh, man, that guy, he got, you know who else got walloped? I don't know if a couple people have mentioned him, but Cori Bush, who got beat in her election a couple of years ago, she decided she's going to come back and retool herself as a socialist. She got beat like by 50 points. See, that's one of the things that they don't talk about. They talk about Abdul al-Sayed and they'll talk about this person, but they don't talk about the ones outside of those areas who are not just getting beat, but getting shellacked. And if you go look in Missouri, look up what happened with Cori Bush. I believe it was by 50 or 60 points. It was something astounding that the other Democrat just completely eviscerated her. Andrew Garcia, no, we want 3+. I have a wife and I have those little doggy friends. Otherwise, put it this way, if Robin goes on vacation or goes to visit some relatives, yeah, you'll stuck with me for like 6 or 7 hours. I ain't got nothing else to do. And 51 Ray Dog, I live in Maine and I am 72 years old. Help. Free yourself, get out of Maine, go, if you can, leave, and also any of these blue cities. All right, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully there's an earlier show tomorrow. I'm counting on there, it's Thursday, I'm counting on there being a press conference, and if that's the case, she usually goes on at 1 p.m., which means we'd go live at 12:30. I already got a whole show ready to go, so I'm just waiting to see what Caroline puts up in the morning. Also, wait a second, also to let you guys know, let me just confirm this because before I say it, she's been away on maternity leave for about the same time as Caroline Levitt was. And tomorrow we have Monica Page will be back. Monica, who's a White House reporter. You guys have seen her a number of times on the show. She had to take some time off to have her baby, but she will be, God willing, she'll be here tomorrow as well. So I got a whole show packed. I can take the day, go in the pool, hang out. And if she does a press conference, timing is perfect. All right. See you guys tomorrow.